Dreamcatchers, I'm your host, Helena, and I'm excited about today's episode of The Writer's Haven. This is the first of a two-part series that promises to enlighten, inspire, and breathe fire into your writing efforts. In the studio today, I have three best-selling authors who I consider sister scribes and friends: Candy Jackson, Terri Johnson, and Sonia Jackson. The 3 J's is what I call them. Writers in their own right, they came together as three among 19 authors to publish this timely holiday anthology, All I Want for Christmas. Here to discuss the book and their artistry are best-selling authors Candy, Terri, and Sonia. Welcome to the Writer's Haven, ladies. So good to have you here today with us and to share with our Dreamcatchers your process, your passion, and your projects. So I want to start off first by just talking a little bit about the book, All I Want for Christmas, and your engagement. How did you hear about it? What inspired you to be a part of that project? Anyone?
Well, I actually saw it on Facebook, and I was talking to a friend who was actually a part of another anthology, and she's like, "You should submit a story." And I was like, "I'm not writing no story." And she said, "You should." So the whole time I was talking to her on the phone, I was actually writing the story. So when I hung up, I shot it to her. I said, "What do you think about this?" She said, "Yeah, send it." And that's exactly how it happened for me.
Okay, okay.
And I saw it on Facebook as well, and Christmas is my favorite time of the year. So when I saw that they were, the company was looking for submissions for the book, for the anthology, I knew I was going to submit. So I was happy, to actually be included as one of the authors in the book.
Okay.
I'm pretty similar. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. And then the submission deadline was on my birthday, so how in the world could I not? And so I just kind of went along with it, and here I am. Here we are.
So what was the call? We're looking for short stories to add to this anthology about Christmas. I mean, was that basically?
That was basically
exactly.
a Christmas story.
Yep.
Okay, and
Christmas
one
short story.
Right, and one theme, so to speak, that I just saw resonate with all of the stories by the 19 authors was that there was some Christian base between them. Was that a requirement for being included, or it just kind of worked out that way?
Yeah, I think it just happened.
Yeah, I'm wondering because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
If maybe it just came. I know I don't write Christian, what you would consider Christian fiction, but it was Christmas, and so somehow an angel just appeared. I had no idea that was going to happen, and next thing I know, an angel appeared in the parking lot. So I think it just had to do with Christmas. A lot of it.
We're gonna have to unpack that a little bit more. I want to hear more about that. So, one thing that I really enjoyed about all of your stories, and of course I focused on your stories versus the other 16 authors, was the way that you started them. I mean, it's for all three of you, and I don't know if that was a requirement in your writing, make sure that your opening was one that someone wouldn't want to stop reading. But I couldn't. It's like once you start, you have to finish it. I mean, that was my experience in reading it. So of course it was a fast read. Tell me, how did you, as authors, not only in this piece but other projects that you've been on, there are a lot of challenges in starting a book. Talk to me about, in our Dreamcatchers, about how you actually started the book. I mean, did the story come first? You had the vision? I know you were writing while you were talking on the phone. or just what is that process about?
Well, I think for me, one of our mentors is Victoria Christopher Murray, and she definitely teaches us to start with a bang. So she said, yes, you write so that the reader does not want to put it down. And I'm an avid reader as well. So I do believe that that helps me, when I write, because I know that, readers, they want to, keep it moving. They wanted to start out with the bang, and they want to keep it moving. So I think that's what helped me, and because we have taken some classes too. So even, trying to fine tune our trade, that's one thing that they definitely focus on. Start out with the bang.
Okay.
When you open, you want to put your reader in the story immediately. And so that's one thing that I try to do, is to find a starting point where you can just say, bam, this is the way this character feels, and try to get that reader engaged from the beginning.
Because there's a lot that you got to put into a short story. I mean, it's just a fewer number of pages than a regular novel, and they all have to have a beginning, a middle, and the end. So it seems that might be a little bit difficult to do.
It's challenging.
It's challenging.
It's challenging.
Absolutely.
It was funny because during the editing process, I think I had 2 chapters that were taken out. And I was like, why? But, you know, it was like, no, you don't need all that. Because like you just said, it's a short story. So you don't want too much in it. But again, at the same time, you want to engage your reader.
You have to find that balance.
Right, you have to find a balance.
Yeah, yeah. How difficult was it for the two of
It's
you?
hard for me. I'm a prolific kind of writer, so to have a stage where you can have 80, 90, 100,000 words, and then you have to try to condense it to 3,500, your entire point is difficult. It's difficult, but it's a learning process, and it worked out okay. I hope.
Way different for
Yeah.
me. It's easy for me.
Okay.
Because the one thing, and I was laughing hearing her say, Victoria says you got to start off with a bang, because we all have the same mentor, I guess. You
Yeah.
know,
Me
her
included.
thing was you're right. Her thing was start with a bang and end the chapter with a bang. That means
Yep.
they want to move on to the second one.
Absolutely.
But for me, years ago, she told me, she said, whenever you do a short story, it's going to be in a short span, either a day or a weekend. That caps it for me. So I know how far I'm going. I know how far I'm going to let the characters go. And it's easy. I can write a short story in an hour because I know the timeline. I can say her, like the character. I already know the character for the next story. But I already know what the end game is. So it's easier for me.
That's a great tip.
It is. That's excellent.
And that actually segues into my next question. Were the stories that you created part of a larger story that you just kind of took pieces of, Terry, and then you put into this short story? We'll talk about that.
Yes. So I had a longer story in mind. So what I did when I saw the submission, I said, okay, I'll make this, you know, like I said, 4 chapters. Okay, we're going to do this. Like Candice just said, weekend. Okay. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking that longer story and I'm almost done with that. So we'll get more backstory, we'll get more characters, you know, in the winter of 2018. So, but for that short story, yes, I did take a longer story and condense it.
Okay, did you guys do
Not
the
me.
same thing?
Not me.
You were like one and done. Next.
Mine was just something that I thought of off the fly and just tried to, you know, fill in the gaps for the story there.
And yours was about the
Home for Christmas.
he wasn't he was an engineer.
He's an engineer,
Okay.
Mechatronics engineer, and he, something happens at his plant. There is an active shooter at the plant, but he makes it. Am I supposed to tell the plot?
Well, what I'm waiting for you to get to is that angel that you talked about a few minutes ago.
The angel just gives her a little reassurance, just to hold on, and it's Christmas, and just let that spirit of Christmas envelop you, and let's just see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that angel was a focal point in your story?
No,
okay. Just kind of came as you were
She just
writing.
came.
You didn't write around the angel. She just kind of dropped.
Nope, she just showed up. My character was on her way back to her car, and lo and behold, there she was. And I thought it was kind of nice because that enveloped, that gave me that spirit of Christmas, or that story kind of puts you in a, what is it, Miracle of 34th Street type of thing. Yeah.
Complete with the blinking street light.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the production of the book itself. How involved were you all in it? I mean, you saw this on Facebook or wherever you saw the advertisement for the anthology. And did you know any of the other writers? Were you actively engaged in discussion with the publishers? Like, how does that work with an anthology?
Well, once we saw it, you know, I guess we all got to working. because we had that deadline in August.
How much time did you all have from the time you saw it to the time it was due?
I think I only had about a month.
Yeah.
It was that day, the day it was due that I saw it.
Oh,
wow.
okay. I think I had about 30 days.
No
Wow.
wonder she was writing while she was.
I guess so. Yeah,
I
yeah.
always catch things late for some reason.
And Katie, I want to talk more about that, and we'll talk more. It's more for part 2 of this series, but just the ability to write that way, because I know writers who can write like that, and it's amazing to me. So I'm happy to hear that you write in that way, and I want to talk more about that for our dream catchers to hear more about that. But for the rest of us who have to slave over it for a month, now, did you have to do an outline? Because you know that's one of the things that we hear often from Victoria about. You know, what are you doing? You're writing without an outline. What's this all about? But that wasn't something that you really needed for a short story.
We didn't have to. I don't think I really did it for the short story. I think it was in my head.
Yeah.
Like what would happen in 4 chapters.
Yeah.
But typically for the longer stories, yes, I definitely do outlines. I'm a planner, so I have to do the outline. But for the anthology, I didn't.
Okay. Okay. So your process was what exactly? How did you go into the process?
I probably, and I guess for lack of a better term, it may have been an outline, because I know what I wanted to happen first. I knew what I wanted to happen in the middle, and I knew how I wanted to close. So I guess once I developed the characters a little, you know, I did some character development so I could find out who they were. You know, what do they like? What would she say? You know, what would he say? You know, how would he or she react to certain situations? So I did a little character development, but I more wrote. I'm definitely more wrote.
And it took you how long?
It took me that time, because I think I turned it in probably like 11:45 when it was due, you know, at 12 o'clock that day. So, because I was going to get, you know, try to get it, but I knew I was going to meet the deadline, which I did. So, yeah, I took all the time that I had, that I could, but I wasn't going to wait till like 5 of. So I think I turned it in like 11:40, 11:45
Okay.
p.m.
And what about you, Sonia?
I slaved over mine. I did, because it took me outside of my normal element. I write, and I've taken a few classes with Terri. I kind of write in a comedic little bit of a way, and this story doesn't have a whole lot of comedy to it. I had to get a little serious, and it took me outside of my normal parameters, and so I struggled with it. I did, but I was determined to try to rein it in and do something a little bit different. In the beginning of the story, you still have a little bit of a comedic bend to it, but then it has to get really serious for a little while. And then it comes back kind of, I hope, in a cute little way. But that's kind of, I do a little romantic comedy, almost like chick lit.
Okay.
Chick lit, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about the editing process? So you the 3 of you turned in, you know, you day of, you day of too. And how long?
Day of.
Day of, okay. So it took you about 30 days. So how was the editing process once you turned them in? Was there some back and forth, or you all just nailed it?
No.
First time out.
Well, gee, can't
I was actually right off of an editing class.
Okay.
Right off of an editing class.
Okay.
So, and I was surprised it didn't come back, because everybody knows in Brown Girls that editors do not play.
Right.
So I was surprised that it didn't come back. I even went and reread it to make sure, like, did I dot all my I's and cross all my T's? And it's funny because today I was reading it just in case someone asked me a question about it, and I said to myself, yeah, I really got it that time. But it was, when I say right off the editing class, I had just finished the editing class maybe a couple of days before, so everything was fresh. Now asked me to edit something today,
wow,
it's totally different, you know what I mean? But I nailed it at one time. That was a 1-in-1. Wow. First time ever, trust me.
Well, you know what? One thing that I really liked about your short story was the surprise elements of it. You know, so the first surprise was, let me see, let me make sure I have it in order. The first surprise was that he came home in a wheelchair. And and I did not see that coming. I'm like,
Right,
whoa,
right.
okay. And then the second surprise, the next time the wheelchair appeared, she was
for
in
her.
it. I was like, what is going on? So, but the way that you slide those in, it was just written in a way that it just really kind of take the reader back. And then I wondered, is that also what comes with writing short stories? Because in a very short space of time, you have to tell a story in its completeness, and put in those elements that are most important to the story to make them work. So,
well, I was talking on the phone with a writer. She's a sister scribe too.
Okay.
And so I said, you know, I need an idea, and for some reason, I was just thinking about Idris Elba. Like I just was.
honey, when I saw that name,
and so. And when I saw him, though, I saw him in like a uniform. So I'm talking on the phone. I said, so I'm going to make the guy's name, you know, Idris. And she was like, okay. And my daughter's name is Jordan, but we call her Jody.
Okay.
And I was like, I've used everybody in my family's name as characters because you run out of names. And so in my mind, I just saw how playful Jordan is, and I saw how serious Idris is, you know, in his movies, and I kind of, and she and I just banged it out. I mean, she was writing a short story at the same time too, which hers didn't get in. Mine did.
Okay.
So we kind of just banged it out, and toward the end, I just got really quiet, and I said, just be quiet for a minute. I think I got it. And then that was it.
and then there was that nice little trip to Paris.
Yeah.
And that was
Her
just
special trip.
creme de la creme.
Yes, yes.
Nice ending. Okay, and so for you with the editing process.
Well, my story was A Silent Night with a question mark. But yeah, mine came back. So I definitely had editing that I needed to go back and do. So that was cool because I got in.
Right.
So I can we can edit. You know, once I knew I got in, I was just ecstatic. So like I said, they took out some stuff. They like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Like, what? So, that was one of my favorite parts, but it's all good because I'm in there.
Right, right.
And then you trust, you know, you trust your publishers, you know.
Yeah,
You trust your
yeah.
editors and you trust your publishers. So
And
So
they're really
we
good
did
to work
edit.
with. They are.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Didn't-
I said they're really good to work
Yeah,
with. And they trust us.
right.
Yeah. So you guys also were engaged in the two types of editing. You know, there's the editing for the creative process of what's on the page, and then there's the grammatical, technical editing. So were you all involved? I mean, so you never saw yours again until it was published, and then
I saw mine again.
you saw.
Mine was more, I would say, developmental.
Okay.
You know, it was, you know, let's tighten this, you
Yes.
know, up like that. It was more
Right.
developmental. But even at one point, when they felt like we got really, you know, good, they gave our stories to each other to edit.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, so what you do now, you know, because we feel kind of comfortable,
Yeah.
you know. I think it was the story after ours or the story before ours. So we were able to help our sister scribes edit as well.
Oh, okay, okay. So going to the question about being part of the production process before publishing, so part of the experience was that you got to read other people's work, and what was your role in doing that? Was it to give feedback that could potentially change what was written, or what was that support about?
I believe it was more copy editing,
Yeah.
more so than the developmental.
Right.
Just
Okay.
checking
Right.
to make sure all the I's were dotted, T's crossed.
The grammar,
things
that
Okay.
type
that
of,
the
yeah.
developmental had come more so from the people at Brown Girls.
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't do it. I didn't.
You didn't participate?
And they
Love
probably would never
candy.
they probably would never ask me to do it either. They probably would never ask me to do it either. And only because I think once upon a time I read so much. Like I'm kind of hard on people. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I am. Probably too hard. I probably shouldn't be that hard on people. And because karma comes back. Like I remember I had got like. When my novel came out, somebody gave me I was at a book club, and she was like, "I only gave you 2 stars." I'm like, "Why am I here?"
You at a book club?
I was at a book club, and one of the people in the book club did a review on Amazon and gave me 2 stars.
And she told you
Jeez.
while
My
you were
face.
there.
Great day.
Wow.
And I was like, she don't know me. I know I've been changed. But I think I would be too hard.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me see. So we went from writing it, short period of time. We went from turning it in and being part of the production process. Let's talk about the publishing side of it now. How involved were you all in that? And let's lump marketing with publishing. Publishing and marketing.
I thought that marketing was the fun part. I think
Okay.
that's when we were like, phew, and we just had fun.
Yeah.
And you know, we picked our pictures, you know, pictures that would go along with our story. You know, so we did have input into the marketing part, and that was fun. You know, we had calls, you know, conference calls with our publishers, you know, like once a week before the drop dead date, I believe. If not once a week, it was at least every other week, but I think it might have been once a week.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, which was good because that shows that they value our input.
Okay.
And each of the authors, we helped each other. If there were some graphic artists in our group, they, Princess, a lot of them, Princess Gooden and Yvette Daniels, they would, they're really good with graphic artists, graphic artistry, and so they would design all of these things, and they would just put
What
them
were
out.
they designing?
Just promotional material.
Okay.
And so they would come up with images of our faces on Christmas tree ornaments and, at a frosted, they had some
And
on
like
a frosted window.
a mocha mug.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we are, you know, grateful to them for that because I'm no good with that type of stuff.
Okay.
So they promoted that. So we all helped each other, you
Now,
know.
was this part of the publisher's marketing plan
Yes.
for the book and the authors? And then people that were part of the project, whether you were a writer or editor or whatever your position was, just kind of helped out wherever the expertise was.
Yes.
Just kind of everybody just jumped in. So it's kind of like a family affair.
Definitely.
A family
Absolutely.
of sisters. Are there
Definitely.
any men that are part?
And Brown Girls, we have some.
Yes.
Okay, but we're part
Couple.
of this project.
No.
No.
And was that on
And there may have been one. We should maybe say one. Well, not as a writer, but Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jason.
Jason
Okay.
is the social media manager
Okay.
for the publisher.
Okay.
So Jason did help us, but they're all female writers.
Okay, and that wasn't by design. That it was just they were the ones who submitted and got accepted.
Yes.
It wasn't like a woman-only project.
No, just
no.
based on the story, I'm pretty certain.
Okay, what were some of the challenges that you could say you faced as a writer on this project?
Well, for me, I kind of touched on it a little bit. It was a little bit outside of my genre. So I had to kind of stretch myself further than I have been stretched to get that serious factor in it, to try to get to the root of the angst that the character felt. So that was definitely outside, and I had a love-hate relationship with that story for a long time, almost kind of like, yeah, I wrote that story, but okay. But I got really great feedback from it, so yes. But it was really outside of my comfort zone. I don't think I'll do the suspense thing anymore. I'm not.
Really?
No,
you
that's
know
not
I
my thing.
love that's my genre.
Right.
I live for that.
Yes.
No, I'm a happy-go-lucky, come on, let's just have some fun, like type thing. I think that's
And
my
what you
stick.
said about the comedic elements that you wanted to drop in, but because it was a serious piece for the most part, so that was
It's there towards the beginning of the story, but there was just, when I say I was stretched, because towards the middle, when you get to your climax, you know, you have to start trying to put yourself in the, you know, in your character's shoes. There's no room for comedy when you think something's going on with your husband and your family and your life is, you know, is in jeopardy. So I wasn't able to put that angle in there that I normally would, you know, kind of be a little flippant about. But, you know, this is supposedly real life. And then we have active shooter situations all the time. There's no comedy in that at all. So, so I had to try to get to the try to get as best I could to the root of that. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of writing for television?
Yeah. I'd love to.
Because that, the juxtaposition of those two genres, you're seeing a lot of that more on TV.
Right, yeah.
And it's amazing how they do
Dramedy.
that. Yeah, dramedy, that's right. It's amazing how they, and sometimes I'm just at awe at the things that they do and
That's
say
my
and what
favorite
you
stuff to
see.
watch.
And yeah, but it has me in stitches when I'm watching it too.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you saw
I think
handy?
because I probably had no background with military or, you know, someone who's physically disabled. So I didn't have any background with that. So I just kind of played it by ear. You know, Google is queen in my story writing. And so that was basically probably it. At first I thought maybe I could comb through one of those 13 open stories that I have and try to find something to put it together. But I just wanted to do something fresh and young, something young and fresh.
Yeah.
I wanted the kids, I wanted them to be young, I wanted them to grow up together. And so I kept getting their names
Such
confused.
a nice element. Too.
Yeah, I
love
kept getting the names confused because she had a lot of brothers and he had a lot of brothers. And,
2 and 2.
yeah, and I didn't want to do the character resume because for me it was just too much of a short story. So then I just said, let me just write the names down. So then I did write the names down, but I just love the way that they grew up together and they went to college and they were good friends. And right before he left, you know, he told her, I love you, you know. I'm like, and she waited like the whole time for him to come back. And then it was almost like the test of time when he came back and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, are you still going to love him? And she just fell right, you know, on her knees. And she was just so happy he was home. He could have came home any old kind of way with a hump on his back and an eye in the middle. And she would have been happy. So,
Right. So how old were they by the time they were grown up?
they were 27, 28, and I actually had her. I actually had her as 26. That was I shouldn't say I had no edits because I did get that one text that said, "How's she gonna be 26?" and she had already went to medical school. So yeah, so then I just took the age out, but I still wanted to give the audience some freshness and to say something about them that you would know that they were young.
Yeah, yeah. That
I love
was
young
good.
love. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, yes it is. Yes it is. And Terri, were there any challenges?
I would say yes, because it's the research. I mean, my main character was undergoing a problem pregnancy. You know, just going through depression, you know, going through a lot of things that we go through every day.
Yeah, and the loss of her husband was
and the loss of her husband,
before?
right. She had just lost her husband, so she was depressed, but she still had that life-threatening illness that could have, you know, caused the death of her and or her baby. So I did have to research a lot about, you know, pregnancy and problem pregnancies and things like that. So I did have to do that, but it all worked out.
Okay, okay. Well, it was great to hear about the book, All I Want for Christmas, and I know that it's available wherever books are sold.
Yes, it
and so
is.
congratulations
Thank
to the
you.
3 of
Thank you.
and the 19 writers who were part of that project. And Dreamcatchers, tune in next week for part 2 of our writers discussion, where we will share tips on one of the biggest challenges for many writers. How and where do you begin? See you next time in the Haven, and until then, catch fire on purpose.